Jonathan, we're glad to have you and glad that you're able to participate in here on this fabulous and amazing Monday to get us kicked off on the right foot for Small Business Week.
Oh, you bet. I'm so happy to be here. I apologize in advance for any squawking you might hear. Someone is moving out of my building and my dog is not having it. He's not into it. He's just not into it.
Oh yeah, if you hear some dogs, I am with the dogs as well today. So hey, it's their world. We're just living in it.
I hear you.
Let me know. You should have all hosting capabilities as well. If not, let me know.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Oh, it's allergy season as well. I'm having a great day, you guys, but holy moly. Oh, things are starting to stack up against me. But thank you all so much for joining today. I have a very brief presentation for you all, and then I want to open the floor to Q&A. Jeffrey, let me know when you want to get started. I'm happy to share my screen. And we're gonna do questions at the end, but throughout the presentation, please feel free to leave them in the comments of this stream. I will look at them if I can, and if not, we'll get to them at the end.
And yes, we can go ahead and get started.
Cool. All right, let me share my screen, which I've done 100 times, and for some reason I can never remember how to do. All righty. Can you all see my screen? Can you all see that? Yes. I just want to make sure. Okay, great. You can. Cool. All right. So, hi, everyone. My name is Jonathan Graziano, and I'm going to be giving a presentation today on building your social media presence. This is going to be, there's so much that goes into this, that this could be like an 8-hour seminar. But I wanted to share some tips for people who are looking to build their platforms, whether it's from the ground up or you already have a bit of a presence. I have some ideas on how to establish, how to build out content strategies, how to engage with your audience, how to turn those engagements possibly into either sales or conversions of some kind. And then I've got a few tips on just how to make your life easy on social. So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Again, if you have questions about anything that I go over, please feel free to leave them in the Q&A section of this stream, and we will address them at the end. Cool. So first I'll start. My name is Jonathan Graziano. I'm a marketing manager here at GoDaddy. I've been here about 6 years. And outside of GoDaddy, I have built a bit of a social media following myself. I had a pug. He passed last year, may he rest. His name was Noodle, who went super viral during lockdown. And we ended up doing this little series called Bones or No Bones. And it went very viral, and we've amassed a few million followers on social. We've had a book published. We've been on the Today Show. I got very, very fortunate with what's happened with me on social. But I've worked professionally in social media marketing for just over 10 years as well. So it truly is I'm just fortunate that I have this experience when all this happened to me. But again, I have some tips on not necessarily how to, I can help you grow your social presence. One of the main things I have written in here, actually, I will go over that in a moment, but one of the main things that I've written down is how virality can never be your main goal. So quick, what we're going to cover, and by the way, don't be too blown away by the graphic design elements you see in this presentation. I know you're going to be really, really floored by just how artistic this is. I'm a simple man of colors and shapes, and I like I like a straightforward presentation. So again, if you have any questions on if you want to see more screenshots, if you want links to anything I talk about, please let me know. So what we're going to cover today is we're going to go over best practices for establishing a presence on social, building out content. We're going to do a very brief cover of platforms. We're going to go over, again, content best practices and engagement best practices. So to start off, I want to talk about a few things that I just know for sure are true before you do anything on social media. And this is something that I know to be true both as my own experience in the influencer space and as a social media marketing professional. The first thing you want to do before you are on social media in any capacity is you want to establish your brand. So establishing your brand is something you can do on social, but you first have to know what it is in person. So that doesn't mean that your business has to be fully fleshed out, but you have to know what you want to accomplish with your brand. If you're going to be selling, if your business is that you make candles, what kind of candles do you make? Do you make seasonal candles? Is your brand seasonal candles? Do you make candles with funny names? Or do you like that candle company that has candles that's all the homesick scent? So each candle is a different state, right? Like you have to establish what your brand is before you launch on social. And I say that because, and if we get to it a little later, I should have reordered this, but going right down to the bottom bullet, social media is your digital storefront. That's what I like to think of it as. Whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling a service, whether you're just selling yourself and your personality, social media is your digital storefront. If you are going to establish a social media presence, right? If you're going to create an Instagram page or a Facebook page, but you're not going to do anything with it, you're just going to create it for the sake of having it, that's going to work against you in the long run, right? You would never open a shop and then not staff it. It's that kind of thing. You don't need someone to be staffed 24 hours, but you want to make sure that you have a plan before you show up. This is one of those instances where you can absolutely build the plane while you are flying it, but you want to know where you're trying to go first. Another tip for you is you don't have to be everywhere. A lot of people think that in social media, well, there are 6 huge platforms. I have to be on 6 huge platforms. That is not true. I would recommend if you are just starting out on social to pick 1 or 2 social media platforms that you feel really comfortable on, whether they're ones that you use yourself personally, or they're just ones that you are the simplest for you to figure out, or you quite honestly, you find the easiest YouTube tutorial to follow to learn how to use. You don't have to be everywhere. And I think that's a really, really important point I want to hone down. For example, I am on Instagram and TikTok. Those are the big ones. Those are the big ones for me. I was thinking of going on YouTube, but it was too much. I knew I wasn't going to be able to be as present as I wanted to be on that space. And that was going to work against me. And the same is true for your brand, right? If you're going to launch a page, you need to be able to tend to it. And then lastly, I would say high resolution content. No matter what you are posting, even if it's like slice of life content, even if you're just taking video, camera footage with your phone, you want it to be high quality, right? That doesn't mean it has to be like professional, National Geographic quality, this is not Blue Ocean, but you want to make sure people can see what your video is, right? The same with your post copy. If what you're showing is not clear, there's a much higher chance that it's going to be missed, right? That it's just not going to come through. Quick overview on social media platforms. So again, if you are looking to establish yourself on social media, you want to pick a platform where you think you're going to have the most opportunity for success. Now, this is a little graphic that I found, and it's actually very relevant. The data is from April of 2024. I checked this source, Statista. Again, I can link this out. This is very accurate. So what it ends up being is this is a graph of how many people are on social. Now, I also have to say, I think social media platform is a little loaded of a term. Social media has really branched out to mean a bunch of different things. For example, Facebook and YouTube could not be more different platforms, but they're both considered social media platforms. The main ones I want to point out here that I primarily operate on and am familiar with, we have Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok. I would say those are probably the heaviest hitters on social. And then you have your other platforms, which they're even more listed in this graphic, but you've got platforms like Twitch, YouTube, which is more of just a media platform. You've got platforms like Reddit, which is forum forward, Snapchat, which is a great marketing platform, but it's really, really hard to get into. It's a very, very, very niche. And then Pinterest, right, which I think we're all familiar with. But the big heavy hitters I want to talk about are Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Even on this graph, you'll see they're not the most popular social media platforms, right? It looks like Facebook gets a lot more than TikTok. TikTok gets a lot more than X. These are the platforms where I would say people are spending the most time. So even if there aren't the most users, we know that people are spending 90 minutes a day on TikTok. Average TikTok users are spending 90 minutes a day on that platform. That is an insane number. So when you're choosing your social media platform, you want to pick a platform where you feel like, again, you're going to succeed. For example, if you're going to pick a platform like Instagram or TikTok, you want to make videos. Those are video forward platforms. So you want to know, okay, I'm comfortable making video content. I like my personality. I have video assets. That's a great platform for me. YouTube is the same way. right? If you've got long form video, that's a really good platform for you. If you're doing more sales content, if you're just really big on sales, Facebook might be a good place for you because they have a huge marketing platform. Or X, because X has really great share functions with retweets and with polls. There are ways to get your audience involved. So I'd recommend you do your research on these platforms. They all have pros and they all have cons. And you can do your due diligence before you think of actually launching. For example, I said it again, I'm on Instagram and TikTok because those are video forward platforms, and not for nothing, I find them the easiest to use. That's my big one. I have a LinkedIn, I have a Facebook, but I use those more for personal use. Whereas Instagram and TikTok, I find them super user-friendly, and I just feel like they're a great platform for me. Content. So these are some tips I have for establishing content. And then this is a little screenshot of my Instagram profile for my dog. I actually adopted a new one. This is I adopted a new one a couple of weeks ago. His name is Milton, so I actually have to update this. But this is what it looks like today. When you launch a social media profile, you want to establish yourself very clearly. So this is Instagram, for example, but this is true on any social media platform. You want to make it very clear how people can reach you. So right in the bio, I put my contact information. I put another profile you can find me at, John Graz, which is my personal profile, and I've added the email to my manager. I've added the email there so that anyone who goes to my profile, no matter what, it is very clear how you can contact me. And that's really important for a business, right? People want to know, hey, if I like this product or if I want to know more about this, how much access do I have? That's a first thing a lot of people will do. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm looking up a brand, one of the very first things I do is I look at their social media platforms. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. If I go to an Instagram page for a brand I'm thinking of purchasing from, and I see they haven't posted in 3 months, and they've got comments piling up of people who are just like, I have a problem with your product, I have a problem with your product, and no one's addressing them, I'm probably going to look for another brand, right? I'm probably going to look for another product, because my main takeaway from this brand is that they're not present. They have a product, they're interested in selling it to me, but if I have a problem with it, or if I want to reach out to them or get in touch with them, they've shown me already that they're not very available. So they might have a great call center, but already I'm turned off because social media is a much easier thing to vet than any other sort of customer service element you might have. Identify content buckets. So this is the big thing that I'm going to say. And again, this boils, oh, sorry, excuse me. Oh my gosh. This boils down to something, again, you have to do after you've established your brand. So if you're building something on social media, I'm going to assume that you already know what you're wanting to accomplish, right? You know what product you're selling, you know what service you have, and your goal could very much just be, I want to raise awareness, or your goal could be, I want to sell a ton of product, whatever it might be. Identify what your content buckets are. The next slide I have will kind of go a little further into what content buckets are. Build out your cadence. You want to be posting on a regular basis. Again, I don't mean to sound a little bit like a broken record, but if you're posting twice a week, you're going to get a lot more engagement than if you're posting twice a month. Right now, that can also depend based on what kind of content you're posting. So if you're posting long form, super high quality content, like if you want to do vlogs, right? If one of the things you want to do with your brand is vlogs, where you want to show people, this is the day in the life of me as a small business owner, right? I do consulting. This is what my day looks like. If you want to do a vlog content and do like long form, something like that, that is totally fine to post fewer of, because you're giving more value in a singular piece of content. So if you're posting an 18-minute video that's really high quality, is a lot packed into it, you can do that once a week, and you'll be able to stay up, toe to toe with the people who are posting 4 times a week, but it's much smaller, shorter form content, right? You always want to remember, if they're posting more, right? If there's more quantity going out, there are ultimately more opportunities for engagements. But if one of your brand tentpoles, if part of your brand is that everything is very neat, or everything is very organized, or I want people to think, I'm a consummate professional, then quality might be much more important to you. And that's totally fine, but you just want to be posting on a regular basis, whatever it is. If you're posting long form vlog content, that's episodic. So even if you're posting once a week, people are going to want to know, you say, I'm posting this on Monday, come back next Monday. I'm going to want to see something on Monday. If you're posting on Tuesday, I also know that you're not consistent, and I probably am going to find someone else to follow if I'm interested in that kind of content. And then the last thing I want to say about content is always be testing. So algorithms are changing all the time, right? There's a lot of social media platforms you can follow. Social Media Today is a really good website. Always be testing different kinds of content formats. Platforms are always launching stories, reels, inline posts, 15-second videos, 10-second videos, all, there's a lot going on, and I know it feels overwhelming. But don't feel like you have to, if one thing works, that's what you have to do forever. Platforms want you to play around with what they have to offer, right? If Instagram launches a tool on their story function that allows you to use polls, use polls. Chances are, if you are using a new feature on a platform, that platform will promote it, right? So algorithms, the platforms themselves want to see their products work. So again, if Facebook is launching a live stream and they're really excited about live stream and they're trying to get everyone to use live stream, it's a great opportunity to try a live stream, because chances are Facebook's going to be pushing out live streams a little more frequently than they might have been if it wasn't such a new product or a new service that they offer. And the same thing is true with TikTok when they launch a green screen filter, a new filter. Like, all of these little things are worth testing, because it gives your audience the opportunity to share feedback with you, which is what I think is one of the most valuable aspects of social media. And it lets you figure out what you're most comfortable doing. You might love live streams. You might find filming content to be really exhausting, and you might be a little bit of a perfectionist and it's too hard to come by. And then you might find that, you know what? I can connect really well with my audience if I'm just like doing office hours. If I let them know, you know what, from 8 to 9 this night, I'm going to be on live answering questions about my product, right? I'm going to be packing orders and answering questions. Those kinds of things are really great ways to build community, and it's a great way to gain feedback. All comments that you get, any engagements you get on your posts are learnings, right? If you put up a post and it gets 100 more likes than your last post, and you didn't do much different about it, except you used, it was a video instead of a photo, all right, you roll with that, right? Try another video the next time and then learn from that. If someone's commenting and they're saying, I'm having trouble navigating your website, or I want to know more about this product, where would I go? Answer them, right? Learn from that. If they're having trouble using your website, how many people have had that thought but did not comment, right? It takes a lot to get people to comment. So use that feedback to build out a better user experience, a better business, a better social media presence. Content buckets. So content buckets are something that I think is really, really important for any brand. Content buckets, essentially what they do is they help build familiarity and community with your social media audience. You want to pick 3 to 4. You want these to be very natural to your brand, very natural to who you are and what you want to accomplish, inherently tied to your mission, vision, values. And you want the majority of your content to be value forward. And by that, I mean, you want your content to provide something for the person viewing it. You want someone, if you're selling a product, I don't want to follow a social media page where all they're trying to do is sell me something. But there's no fun in that. Like, if I want to buy your product, I'll buy your product. If you have a social media presence, I want to know what you're all about, right? If you're selling, again, candles, there's a lot of people selling candles. Why would I want to buy from you? What is it about your candles that make me so interested? For example, there's someone on TikTok who I follow, and she shows the whole process of how she makes her candles, from making the tallow to sourcing the scents. So I bought a candle from her for Christmas last year because not only do I know who made this, but I know how it was made. I know it was ethically made. I literally watched this batch get made in front of me. I can't think of a better purchasing experience than literally seeing the thing that I want to buy get made in front of me. So that was one of her. Oh, no. Sorry. Spoiler alert. There's another slide. So again, content buckets are a great way to build. I lost my train of thought. I got so excited talking about candles. So this woman really roped me in because I felt familiarity with her brand. And even though that post of hers, of her making the candle, is not her directly selling to me, because I found so much value in watching that video, because I found it so interesting to learn about how this person makes tallow, why they use the kind of fat that they use, why they chose the scents that they use. I got so much value out of these videos, I was converted into a customer. And that's something that is just one of the intrinsic reasons why people have social media. It's very hard to track direct conversions from social. It is a no-brainer to believe that putting out good content about your brand and building a community is going to affect your bottom line. There's no denying that. So these content buckets are an example of the buckets that I would make for my brand. Now again, Noodle and my social media presence was very much, it was not launched with the intention of it being something that we wanted to monetize. It was not launched in the way that a business would launch on social, but it turned into one. And what I wanted to do is I knew I had an audience, and I went, okay, whether I have an audience or I'm building an audience, the best way to get people to stick around is to build a sense of familiarity, is to get people to know, what can I expect from this person? What are they an authority on, right? Again, there are so many social media accounts out there, and what you do is unique, but it's not that unique. There are a lot of people on TikTok who have dogs. There are lots who have pugs. Why would someone follow me? Well, it's because of the very specific things we do on my page. Excuse me. So this is an example of, if I wanted to do a business plan or I wanted to break out a content strategy, this is something I would write down for myself. You want to pick 3 to 4 content buckets, and you want to think things that are core to what you can do relatively easily. Most people who are running businesses do not have time to run social media full time. So you want to pick something that's pretty easy to do. You want to pick something that's very natural for you, and you want to pick something that you like doing, right? The last thing for a social media is so hard. It's so hard. People think it's so easy, and it's not. It's just not. And it feels easy because it's like, I'll take a photo and I'll post it. But if you actually want to build something there, you really have to be thoughtful about it. So I built a brand. I have a community on social media of people who love pugs. They loved my old pug Noodle. So these are examples of buckets that I would establish for myself to build out a community. Everyday life. So what these are 4 different types of content that I will make on my page, so that people who come by, they're getting a variety, but it's not like I'm all over the place. And one day I'm posting cats, and the next day I'm talking about how much I love plants, and the next day I'm cooking ziti. Like, if my brand was that I try new things, that's one thing, but that's not what I'm known for. I'm known for taking care of an old dog. So one of the buckets I established is everyday life. Right? I work from home and I have an old dog, and it's fun to take care of him. And I share videos of what that's like, whether it's giving him his medication, whether it's having him yell at me because he hasn't gotten a banana, whatever it is, I share slice of life content about this dog. People relate to that because they live with their dogs and they see the same stuff every day, right? It's fun to say, oh, well, my dog's suffering for cheese because I'm eating a quesadilla, and isn't that a shame? People in the comments will relate to that, right? Everyone will be able to sit there and go, oh my gosh, my dog did the same thing. Building that community. Tips and education. I have taken care of a dog for 7 years, and I learned a lot doing it. So I have kind of I've established myself as a bit of an authority in the space. Some of the value I can provide for people who follow me is what I know. So sharing tips on taking care of dogs, sharing tips on what, timing increments to put the eye drops in, education on different kinds of health insurance policies that I use. Again, using my knowledge to provide value for the people who follow me. Awarenesses for causes. My dogs are all rescues, so I like to use my platform to raise awareness about animal rescue. That's one of those win-win-win things that you always want to look for. What am I getting from posting this? And does it look good for me? Yes. So if I post about animal rescues, the animal rescue gets exposure. People who want to adopt dogs learn about animals that are up for adoption. And I become someone who becomes synonymous with animal rescue, which is a really good thing, right? That's super positive. And what's great is it just kind of came organically because I rescued a dog, and because I feel so passionate about it intrinsically, it's a no-brainer to use my platform to talk about this. And that's something that provides a lot of value for people. And then the last bucket that I've established is my calls to action. So because I monetized my page, I will post content asking people to click a link. I will ask, and it's a call to action. You might see that as a CTA. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that. Call to action, click on a link. fill out this survey, buy this product. When you are actually asking someone to do something, right? You're actually asking them to do something. And that's something you'll want to do. If you are launching a social media presence, if you're building out your brand, if you have a product, service, whatever it is, you want to ask people to do stuff, right? You want them to book you. I want you to book my catering services. I want you to do this. But no one's going to do that unless you have advertised to them. And that's what all of these other buckets are about. It's about building that brand and building that community so that I know if I've posted, and this, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. My first job out of college was working for a man named Gary Vaynerchuk, who I'm sure a lot of you are familiar of if you were on a webinar about establishing a social media presence. So I learned a lot about social media marketing in like 2013, right, during the BuzzFeed days. And there were two things that I learned at VaynerMedia working under Gary that are like scripture within me. And the first one I will let you all know is a book that Gary actually wrote. I remember it always. It's called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And the essential principle of it, and again, it's a book, you can go buy it. The essential principle of it is if you are going to post, it's about content strategy. Call to action posts are called right hooks, right? I'm actually asking you to do something. Before you post a right hook, you want to post at least 3 pieces of value content, right? 3 jabs, 3 posts that I'm not asking you to do anything for me, but because you follow me, you're going to get some enjoyment out of being a part of my community on my page, right? You're going to follow me and you're going to see this dog get noodle. I filmed videos and I shared Milton going to Central Park yesterday. And again, like, he's my dog. It's so easy to do this because it's just fun for me to do. He had never seen Central Park before and he got to romp in the sun. So I got to post something like that. And I'm going to an event tomorrow for animal rescue. And then next week, I'm going to be asking people to buy tickets for a show. So I already know that I have a post coming up next week where I'm going to ask people to click a link. I want to make sure that I don't do any of that before that happens because I don't want people to think I'm asking too much of them, right? You want to be really thoughtful about how much you're asking from people. So that's a really good rule of thumb. If you're going to ask people to do things, if you're going to ask them to click a link, you have to give them a reason to do so outside of I want to make a sale. And then engagement. This is my last slide, you guys. So I'm such a talker. Oh man. Oh, but I made good time. So engagement. So this kind of goes hand in hand with content. If you are posting content, if you are making content available for people to see, that means you're also making content available for people to react to, right? And that's what you want. You want people reacting to your content. I don't know if everyone posts a piece of content hoping it'll go viral, but anyone posts a piece of content wants it to be seen by someone, right? Asking someone to create a post that goes viral is a very dangerous thing because maybe dangerous is the wrong word. But it's just it's not the way to go about creating a healthy content strategy. Because people can see right through it. People can see, they know trends, they know things that go viral, they see people jumping on it. And it's one thing to jump on a trend, right? It's one thing to use an audio that people are using. It's one thing to use a pop culture event that's happening as a piece of content. That is totally fine. You want to be a part of the everyday conversation. But what you don't want to do, is you don't want to get to a point where you're posting all of this stuff and people are sharing all of their feedback with you and you're just not doing anything with it. That's the last thing you want to do, right? That's not part of a community. It's got to be part of a conversation. So again, comments are feedback for free, right? People are saying whether they like it or they hate it. You can take value from what people are saying. If you've got 100 likes on a post and it's a post about a fundraiser you're doing, and you saw that the last couple posts you've gotten have all gotten 20, 30 likes, that's something you should try and do again. It seems like people are very interested in hearing more about that. So you lean into that. Okay, if people are engaging with this content over the other, maybe I'll let that help shape my content strategy, right? If people are, again, going back to me, if more people are engaging with the videos I'm posting about, for example, this noodle in the no bones day, my no bones dog. I shared a bunch on TikTok about just my everyday life. And then I shared this one little series where my little dog sat in a donut every morning and I lifted him up. And if he flopped down, it was a no bones day. And if he stayed seated, it was a bones day. That's all we did. And in the comments, I just filmed this because he was a lazy little dog and I loved him so much. But I started filming these videos and posting them because I thought they were hilarious. And that was the only reason why I was posting them. But in the comments, I started to see people say, oh, so this dog doesn't have bones. That means I don't have to have bones. Or this dog has bones, that means I should really go about and have a productive day. Aha. So all of that came from other people. I did not come up with that originally. I shared the dog, but in all the comments, I saw people kind of dictating what this was, and I just rolled with it, right? That's something you do. If you see people in your comments saying, oh, I absolutely loved this scent of candle, when is it coming out again? If you find that that's a limited edition, I don't mean to keep going back to candles. I love candles. That's a limited edition and a lot of people are asking for it. Maybe you make that something that you do more regularly, right? Or maybe you make that part of a larger promotion if you know there's a lot of interest there, right? Comment sections are just focus groups. So these are examples of some comments I have on my own posts, which are really helpful because they're about building communities, right? This comment from Owen the Griff, we love that he loves bananas. Can we get a food review on clementines, please? I did not know, so I did not know dogs could have clementines. So someone commented and they're already asking for a food review on clementine. So I'm gonna sit there and go, okay, maybe I do a whole series where I feed Milton a different kind of food every day, for a reasonable amount, dog-friendly food, and see what he likes, because he's new to me. I don't know what his favorite foods are, and it'd be kind of nice to figure that out. And that'd be a fun series to share with people. And I didn't come up with that. This was a comment I got that someone wants to see it. Awesome, I'll do the same thing. Here, do you have plans to travel with Milton this summer? To Rochester. I'm from Rochester, New York. I'm gonna take him upstate to visit my mom. Maybe I do a content series on traveling with your dog. Maybe I do a whole content series on what are the best airlines to travel with? What are the best trains to take? What are the best bags to use? Like all that kind of stuff can be distilled just from comments. Prompt responses. If people are gonna be commenting, you want the store to be manned. You don't have to respond right away. Like you don't have to constantly be on social. It stops being fun when you're there all the time. But you want, if you're posting something, you want to keep an eye on the post. You know, you don't want too many hours to go by, especially if someone is a customer and they want your attention right away, whatever it might be. Monitoring comments actively is a really good way to make, and your DMs, oh my gosh, your DMs, people sending you private messages. If people know you are available on social media, if they know they can reach you there, it's going to work in your favor. It's going to work in your favor. And then finally, consistency. This is kind of a truth throughout this whole presentation, but with all things, with posting, with responding, you want to be consistent. You want people to know that you're there. And I don't say this to make it seem like this is going to be your new full-time job. But it could be a really huge facet of your business or your service or whatever it might be. If you invest enough time and energy into building a community there, it's going to work really well for you. And it's going to help you learn a lot about yourself and about your product and about what you want from your business. And that is the end of my presentation. Wow. Oh, I hope you absorbed so much from it. Again, this is such a larger conversation. I have 10 years of experience in this, and it's constantly changing. It's constantly growing, but hopefully you found some value in this presentation. And I'm happy to answer I haven't checked any of the comments or any of the chat. So I'm just was going. So please let me know if there are any questions we want to go over, anything. I'm so happy to. And again, thank you all so much for listening to this.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Not only for speaking today, but also being our first speaker as well. And
Of
the
course.
nuggets, the knowledge that you were dropping.
Such nuggets.
They were beyond nuggets. I don't know. There was like gold bricks. Let's just be honest.
Gold brick. Yeah,
Gold brick.
bars. Gold bars.
We do have a few questions in here.
Sure.
One of the first ones is from Alicia. She asked, what do you think about Threads?
I think Threads is super fun. So anytime so for those of you who don't know, Threads is essentially the X competitor that Meta launched. Emerging platforms are really fun. So anytime a new platform comes out, especially if it's from a big social platform like Meta, it's a great idea to try it out, if only because you know there are going to be a ton of eyes on it in the first few weeks. So Threads right now, like it had a lot of attention and it's scaled down, but they still have a pretty solid user base. So there are disadvantages and advantages to being in a new platform like that. If it's so new, for example, there are a lot less active users on Threads than there are X, but at the same time, there are less active users, which means there's less noise, which means there's more space for you to make a splash, whatever that might be, whatever you want to do on the platform. So I will always recommend, this kind of goes back to testing. I will always recommend testing new platforms, always.
Always be testing. Always be testing.
That's what I wrote. I wrote,
when you can.
yeah, I wrote always be testing with the idea of being like, and you're going to go back and fix that. And I didn't. And it's just always be
Hey,
testing.
there you exactly. Always be
It's
testing.
true. Always be
I mean,
testing. Seriously.
I think you're not only testing like per se like a platform, but I feel like you're also kind of pushing and challenging yourself as well to be uncomfortable with something that you might not have done before.
You got all of social media is uncomfortable. It is a wild, wild west. So I think it's
Hmm.
like it's inherently vulnerable to post something on social media, is whether it's personal for your business, whatever it is. And the people who fail, who like actually fail, are the ones who believe perfection is able to be achieved
Oh,
on social.
mm-mm. And we don't have time for that. We're just trying to do our best every single day.
The
Uh,
most popular, there is a video on TikTok that has 200 million views, and it is a fruit. It is a bowl of fruit that is just slowly decaying over time. It was a joke that someone created because there was one video that went viral that was really dumb that got a lot of likes. And someone was like, this video is dumb. I want to prove a dumber video can go viral. And just because he purely was like, I hate this other video so much, I want to usurp it, he got so many people to join him in that. Just because he
I
tried,
love
just because
that.
he tried something.
See, always be
Viral video
trying.
out
Always
there.
exactly. Someone asked, how much time do you recommend committing to social media engagement per week per platform?
So I think it depends on like the volume of conversations you're seeing, the amount of posting, amount of times you're posting, right? If you're posting 5 times a week, you're spending enough time on social media as it is. You want to be able to invest that time. I would say, honestly, if you're posting like a few times a week, I would check in the morning and in the evening and get to set yourself a timer for 20 minutes. And in that 20 minutes, respond to comments, and then engage with people who are like you, right? Go on Instagram, and what if you sell candles, search candles, small businesses, and engage with other people in your community, right? Talk to people who are commenting on those posts. If you're not getting comments on your own stuff, reach out and comment on other people's stuff. Like that's how you get seen. That's another thing that people should keep in mind. Even if like there's your own content strategy and then there's showing up in other people's content. So if you're commenting on people's posts and you're putting something really thoughtful there, other people might really like that and then go to your page and learn everything you're about. And if you don't have a really, again, if you've posted this really sage comment, but they go to your social profile and it's blank, you don't have anything there, you've lost an opportunity.
Exactly. Adam said yes. Adam asked if you could be one social media influencer other than yourself, who would you be and why?
If I could be one social media influencer instead of myself, who would I be and why?
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is such a see, it's a good question, but I'm also like, do you mean like I could then be Dave Portnoy's Pitbull Miss Peaches? Because like I would be Dave Portnoy's new Pitbull Miss Peaches. He adopted a dog. He adopted like a pit bull who no one loved. Her name is Miss Peaches, and now she stays at the Ritz-Carlton, and she's the sweetest little hippo baby. And I think she probably lives the best life of any living creature on this face of the earth, and I'd probably pick her. Or, oh my God, no, I would pick Samantha Brown from the Travel Channel because she had a show in the 2000s where she went around and traveled to a bunch of hotels. And now she goes around to a bunch of hotels and shares tips and everyone loves her. I would be Samantha Brown.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I want to be Samantha Brown.
I would
Okay,
be,
decided.
or
Samantha
the
Brown.
Barstool Sports Guy Pitbull, one or the other.
Oh, yeah, that is true.
She's so,
Okay.
oh man, you have to look up Miss Peaches, you guys. And speaking of, again, going back to content that really works, this guy's Barstool Sports. People only thought of him as Barstool Sports. And then he rescued this dog, and now she has millions of followers, and he's become a huge advocate for animal rescue, and his whole brand perception has changed. Something to think
Just like
about.
that. Amy asks, what do you suggest to use for lighter formats on LinkedIn? Does video get interest because it's moving in the feed?
For what? For what? What kind of, what's
Does
the
vi-
question?
does okay? What do you suggest to use for the lighter formats on LinkedIn. Does video get interest because it's moving in the feed?
Lighter
Like as you're,
form?
yes, that's what it is, lighter formats.
How do you mean lighter formats? I think that's my question is like photo versus video. That would be my question.
For
So
initial interest, for initial interest.
I would do videos. I would do videos. If you have really good photos, like if you have good, for example, again, this boils down to your brand. If you are
Ah,
someone who works in consulting, like if you work in consulting and your whole brand is about your advice and is about your knowledge and is about what you know, I would say videos. And you create content where you share some of that knowledge, you share what you've learned, you share tips, or you build those content buckets around what you know, and I would do videos. If you're a products company, again, going back to candles, if you make candles, you can either create video content of you making them, or I think it's totally fine to do still images like beautiful hero product shots, still have a place on social, but videos are inherently more engaging and they do tend to get more promotion from the platforms sort of across each platform.
love that. A few more questions. Patrick asked, how do you use testimonials with your social presence?
So you can use them. Wow, that's a great question. And I really like the opportunity to use them as both in both positive ways, but you can take positive engagements and keep them positive, and then you can also take negative engagements and make them positive. It's what I'm really excited about. So there are certain platforms that give you the function to like literally share on TikTok, for example. If you're building a TikTok, you can respond to a comment with a video. It'll inherently make a video with the little comment posted up there. So you could do that with any platform right now, like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Whenever you're filming a video on your phone, which is the way you create content for these platforms, you will have the option to add text. So even if you don't have like the inherent feature within the platform to share a question, you can add text to the top of the video that just says customer question, or I got a customer review and I'm really proud of it. And you can just share like a very familiar moment with people. You can just say like, hey guys, I worked this amount of hours this week and I got a really nice review and this is what makes it all worth it. And then you share the review. You can either share it publicly, you can share their name. If you get permission, I'd ask permission before sharing their name. And then you could even do like a surprise and delight thing, right? If you got a really good customer review and they said, yes, you can share it or you're good to share it, maybe you share that on your page, say thank you so much, reach out on the back end and then send them something, send them a thank you card, send them a keychain, whatever it might be. Surprise and delight is a really great way to go about and establishing like a very loyal customer base. So I love the idea of taking positive engagements and like just really shouting them from the rooftops. Like you're allowed to celebrate your success on social media. And then I also like the idea of taking negative feedback and making content out of it. Again, like any comment you get it's like a focus group. Comment sections are focus groups. So if you're putting something up and you're getting negative feedback on it, you can either respond and post it and say like, hey, I'm glad you brought this up. Like if the negative feedback is that something is wrong with the website or like someone, a link doesn't work, it might even be beneficial for you to make that public, right? To say like, hey, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I know this isn't working, right? This product is out of stock and I want to let you all know we're going to get it back on this day to try and just kind of help get people aware. But then if people are being really nasty, a lot of times one of the things that really works on social media is the outrage. One of the things that like works really well on social media is outrage. So although I'm not encouraging this, if you have someone who is being really, really negative or really mean for no reason, sometimes putting people on blast just works. Sometimes that just really works because your brand could very well be rooted in kindness. So you could share a video where you get a negative review, you share that, and you can say something very simple. You could be like, hey, this was not helpful, but here's what I am going to take away from this. Leveraging it any way that you want. But if someone makes it a point to share a comment with you, the way I see it, it's fair game.
Love that. And yes, with caution, speak back out. But I think sometimes also like be ready for maybe the fallback or what's going to come with that as well when you do speak out.
Yeah, like you have to pick your battles, right? If it's something personal, you don't want to go after something personal because your brand social media page has nothing to do with that. But, if I have a pug social media account and I have someone commenting constantly on my videos that says my dog has an ulcer in his eye, I will post a video and I'll just be like, listen, Amanda, he doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't. You're not, he has 3 vets in Manhattan. No one's found it. He doesn't. And then that's a funny piece of content because you can play on a trope that a lot of people resonate with, which is the, second screen authority, right? Of people who are like, I'm hiding behind my phone and I'm going to be an ass. And it's like, okay, we all know those people. So that's just a thing that you know from being on social. So anyone can really jump in on that one.
And one of our last questions is, and I actually am been looking forward to this one. All of them have been great, but this one especially, I need some tips on this, is how do you avoid or minimize burnouts?
Take breaks. So there's a lot of different reasons. So take breaks. Like really, if you need to take time away, take time away. Put up a post on your grid, like a text only post that just says, hey guys, I need to step away for a couple weeks. Boom. And you can just go ahead and do it. Like burnout is the like the greatest detriment to creativity. And it's so taxing to be on social media a lot of the time. And like, it sounds kind of ridiculous to say, but it is. Anyone who works in social, anyone that's a social media presence, social is a hard place to be. The moment it starts becoming like a job, that's a lot. So I think like, can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. How do you avoid burnout?
Yeah.
Or mistakes? Or no.
So mistakes are part of the.
How do you avoid or minimize burnout? Sorry.
So, okay. So first I would say if mistakes are at all, just forgive yourself right away. Mistakes happen. Burnout, again, take your breaks. If you're going to take, again, going back to like the storefront, if you have a social media page that people are commenting on and you just go dark for 2 weeks, people might think something happened and they won't have any details on that. And this is another key takeaway that I have. Another thing I learned at VaynerMedia, there was this big chalkboard, very startup in New York City. There's a big chalkboard and there was a rule written on it for social media. And the rule was content is king, context is God. And that's something that I remember always, because what that says is your content has to be really good. But if you don't understand what's going on around that content or in the world, it's not gonna, you're gonna hit a snag. So for example, my favorite example of this, Domino's Pizza, 2014. There's a hashtag trending on Twitter, this is back in the Twitter days. And it was hashtag why I stayed. And it was Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And there was a hashtag trending, hashtag why I stayed. And it was survivors tweeting about why they stayed, breaking the stigma that people have of, well, if you're in an abusive relationship, just leave, right? People were commenting about, they were sharing their story about why it's not that simple, right? They were like, I understand that you think it's that easy. Hashtag why I stayed because I had 3 kids, whatever it might be. So that was a very potent hashtag. Domino's understood the content, that hashtag was very, very popular that day, but they did not understand the context. They did not understand what that hashtag was in reference to. So they tweeted hashtag why I stayed because he had Domino's. And they got DiGiorno, not Domino's, it was DiGiorno Pizza. They got huge backlash on social media because they essentially trolled this really, really potent hashtag that had gotten a lot of attention and people were really upset. And again, whether you can very much tell that this person probably did not mean to like do anything malicious, but the fact that they missed the context of it and they kind of polluted this conversation with a brand activation really worked against them. So as far as that goes, like try and keep your pulse on what's going on, check trending hashtags and stuff before you sharing something super topical or super potent. But take breaks when you need to. And if you find yourself really burned out, one thing I love to do is I like to go on live. I like to do a live stream. When I'm the most burned out, I like to do a live stream and just kind of level with people and just be like, is anyone else really tired? Because that's also a very communal thing. People are totally, the fourth wall is broken. Everybody knows there is no wizard in the Emerald City, right? It's a man with a megaphone. They all know it. So you can put out all your brand content all you want. Everyone knows there's a person behind it. The more human you are, the more transparent you are about who you are within your brand, the more grace you're going to be given. It was a very long answer, and I don't even know if I answered it, but I said a lot.
I feel like you did. I feel like one, I took away some things, but also just some general ways of how to deal with burnout, dealing with mistakes and really owning up to that. I think, like you said, we can give ourselves some of that grace and also just
It's
recognize that as well.
easier said than done, man. Easier said than done, but that's just how it goes.
Well, thank you, Jonathan, so much for
Of course.
and being our first speaker for this week of Small Business Week. We
You
will
know, I
have more.
love talking.
Yes, I mean, we loved it. We enjoyed it. And we hope that you all continue to stick with us throughout the rest of this week as we have more sessions coming through. Going to drop that link in where you can register for the upcoming events as well. And don't forget, tomorrow morning, we're kicking off things sharp, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time with Johnny Romero talking about diversity in business, and then followed up with Alicia Leno at 2 p.m. talking about AI for small businesses as well. So thank you all for joining us today. And we hope to see you here tomorrow and for the rest of the week. And we will see you all here soon. And have a great one, everyone.